What's up? I'm Corey Winfield. Thought my friends like talking into microphones. I guess they don't. Learn something every day. November 30th, 2018, we had our first snow in Southwest Michigan. I'm outside my apartment complex in my pajama pants, t-shirt. I'm looking at this cop. And he's looking at me all funny. Looks real confused. I figured I'd help him out. So I said, "Officer, you can't arrest me. You can't take me to jail." So 5 days later, when I get out of jail, I return to the bachelor pad, walk in, on the counter, half-gallon of alcohol sitting right there. So of course I start to drink it. And it wasn't long before I started seeing the Brady Bunch in my apartment. And I remember going to the ER many times, and they'd always ask me the same questions. And one of them was, "Have you ever hallucinated?" And the smart ass response was, "How would I know if I'm hallucinating?" And they're like, "Oh, trust me, you would know." So as I'm seeing the Brady Bunch in my apartment, I'm like, I'm hallucinating. Like, obviously the Brady Bunch is not in my apartment, but I see them. This is kind of weird. The next thing I know, I'm waking up to a text message from my mom. I'm laying in bed and the phone's next to my head and I just hear it buzzing. So I grab it and I look at it. It said, "Honey, when are you gonna pay your rent?" I wrote her back and I said, "I'm gonna pay it Monday." And she replied back real quick and said, "Honey, it's Wednesday." I thought, what? And in that moment, that's when I really felt the sick of the alcohol that it had taken on my body. I felt it. And I rolled over and I looked and I saw my bedroom door, the handle was like through the drywall. I looked down on the ground, there's like 6, 7 empty half gallons. I thought, my God. I make my way stumbling down the hall to the kitchen and I see this blue mixing bowl on the counter. I'm like, what in the hell? And it's just a mess. I look in it and there's some an open packet of cream cheese in there and some hot cocoa mix I had opened and dumped on top. I had the mixer out ready to go. And I don't know what I was trying to make. I mean, it was scary. And I was just like, wow, I'm glad I didn't turn the oven on. And then it hit me too, like, maybe I was driving. Maybe I did almost kill somebody. I just blacked out for 4 days. I was gonna fight the charges. And at that moment I thought, no, I'm gonna see what the court has to say with this plea deal and see what they have, because maybe I need to go to treatment. And that's what they did. They gave me a year of probation and told me I had to do whatever Riverwood and Benton Harbor said. They're like the drug rehab place that you go to for outpatient. And my counselor in there was like, look, you need to go long term, man. You need to go 6 months, 90 days, a year, because you always leave early. And I was like, whoa, a year, that's a long time, man. So they ended up sending me up north. I was gonna do a 90-day, and I'm like, all right, cool. And this time I can't leave early. You know, I'm kind of court ordered to go there, and jail really wasn't all that fun. So as I'm making my way out, the recovery coach that was employed there grabs me. He's like, "Corey, get in here. I want to talk to you for a second." I said, "Sure, Ray, what's up?" So I go into Ray's office, and he just looks at me. And he has this look that I've seen many times through family members and friends, and they're just like, and he says, "What's it gonna take, Corey?" And I was gonna fire back off of that answer that I always fire back off of. Well, once I get married and have kids, and he's like, "Shut up." He's like, "Shut up, don't answer that to me, you need to answer that to yourself. What's something you put above alcohol?" I said, well, he's like, "No, you got a long bus ride up north, get on the bus, enjoy your time, see you later." And it really stuck with me. And on the bus ride up, it was like a 13-hour bus ride, it was horrible. And I was thinking, well, I told my mom probably 100 times, I'll never drink again. You know, I told my sister, friends, I told everybody, man. So I don't know what it is. My cat, she can't do it for me, like nobody can. So that sounded really weird. And I'm gonna edit that part out of the video. It's for real. I'm not going out like that. Look at this guy. Anyway, so I will go to the treatment center, and I was talking to this woman, and she's like, "Oh, you know, you could probably do this and that." And I'm like, "I don't really know." But I was laying in bed one night. It was like my second night there. And I was thinking, okay, what did I put above alcohol? And then it hit me. In my younger days, when I was on the radio, I used to drink at work. Thought it made me better on the radio. And I heard a commercial that I had done, and it was so bad. I was so trashed. I was so embarrassed that tens of thousands of people had heard this commercial. And I went right back to work and redid it. And I swore to myself that day that I will never drink on the air again. And I never did. So that was the one thing I put above alcohol. So I'm like, aha. And then what do? Well, I don't want to go back into radio, so I'm going to start a podcast. And I was talking to the woman, Joyce Petro at Bear River, and I was like, look, I'm afraid to start a podcast. What are people going to think of me? When I leave here, I'll have 90 days clean. I don't know anything about anything. And she's like, look, you've been at this for a while, right? And I was like, yeah. And she said, well, look, you're going to talk about yourself, right? And your stories. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to talk about my day and how it went in recovery. Some days are good, some days are bad, but I want to talk about everything. And as I discover myself, this is what's going to help me. And she said, yeah, well, then you should do it and don't worry about anybody else and what they think. And I said, okay. So when I left there, I went and I started the podcast, and I had no idea how freeing it was going to be. It was like me starting the podcast, coming out saying, I'm Corey Winfield, I'm in recovery. It felt good. It sounded good. And if people are going to judge me for my past, I can't do nothing about that, man. But I don't live there anymore. I'm here. I'm moving forward. And I've used the podcast ever since as a motivational tool for myself. Other people listen. Some people like it. A lot of family members listen and like it, which was surprising to me, but they do. And it's not about that, though. It's about me staying sober another day to do another podcast. So hopefully when I'm 90, I'll still be doing podcasting, about my day in recovery, God willing. But that's when I found out that was a very important part of me moving forward and helping other people, and at the same time, helping myself.